Hey, I'm Ollie. Welcome to this new series that I'm doing on my channel. So what's this series all about? So when I was growing up, it must have been 12 plus years ago that I was going through learning software development, that there weren't really many videos around that would help me go from conceiving an app idea all the way through to developing, deploying, releasing and marketing. And that's the bit that I was kind of hoping to fill the gap on. So I do apps in my spare time. So by day, I'm a software engineering manager, and that doesn't let me do that much code. It's much more about kind of managing people and process and stuff. And by night, I kind of do my little hobby apps. So I've got a whole bunch of web apps. There's Don't Interrupt app, which you can use. I recommend you check it out. This isn't about Don't Interrupt though. So I use these to kind of keep my fingers in the water. Toes in the water? Toes in the water is the correct term. Toes in the water of software development. So I keep my skills sharp, because I still think they're massively valuable. Even if I'm not developing every single day writing code, I think it's still very good to keep up with technology and stuff. So what I do my little apps in my spare time. But what I thought I'd do is make the videos that I really wanted to have when I was learning software engineering in the first place. I didn't go to university straight out of school. I went and did kind of an IT apprenticeship, which then led me to writing code just by learning by doing. There was no course that I followed. I later did do an Open University course to kind of make sure I had like the piece of paper that would go with it. But I mainly just learned code by trying it. But having a steer in the right direction would have been very useful. Things like continuous integration, deployment, how to deploy, where to deploy, and then even things like releasing a product. You can just release an app, but who's going to use it? Is anyone going to find it? How will they find it? So that's the sort of things that we're going to make on this journey. So we're going to go from the idea, which I've got, which I'll go over in a minute, all the way through to development, deployment, properly releasing, having a launch, and marketing, and getting users to actually use the product. So hopefully you'll join me on the journey with me, and yeah, we'll hopefully enjoy it. So don't forget, if you want to follow along with this, to like and subscribe. And yeah, in a second I'll just go through the app idea. Right, so what app are we going to be making? So over the years, when I've done videos for YouTube, I've done some from Twitch and done some streaming, dabbling, as I say. It's in the name of the channel title. There's various places, such as YouTube. You can put your videos. You can put them on Twitch. So a few years ago, Twitch allowed you to just upload videos. You don't necessarily have to stream and then have your past broadcasts available. You can create videos, you can upload them. So what I used to do was manually upload videos to YouTube and Twitch. But there's not just YouTube and Twitch. There's Vimeo, there's Dailymotion, there's Mixer, I think, might allow you to do that. And if you're wanting to get maximum exposure, you want to release to all the places. And that can be incredibly tedious, filling in the same forms again and again and again, uploading to different places, waiting for them to upload, and then keeping them all in sync, having to do upload a thumbnail individually for each one. So I'm hoping that we'll just be able to make that all easier using the app, which I've happily named Fuddy. I'll go through it. I could go through the trail of thought. So normally when I have an app, I try to come up with a name, a code name for it. So originally I was thinking for YouTube, Tube London is the metro in the US. Metro has trains. The trains have conductors, which is kind of what I was thinking about, moving videos to different places. So your conductor. And then my sister, when she was really young, used to say from a TV series in the UK called Thomas the Tank Engine, she used to call the fat controller, which I know is not a very PC term. He used to be called, I think he might just be called the controller now. He was called the fat controller. She used to call him the Fuddy Wower. So I've just taken Fuddy and Fuddy.app. The domain name's available. So I've got all the Twitter account, Facebook account, Instagram account, everything. So I wanted to make sure I got the name first, so that if anyone was coming on the journey, there's obviously opportunity for you to make the exact same product I have. But I've got the name Fuddy. So just wanted to make sure that was one of the first things I did before releasing this. The other thing that the app can be used for is that agencies. Agencies can manage multiple YouTube accounts or just multiple media accounts. Maybe, I don't know, a business goes to an agency and they want to have their videos uploaded all over the place. Well, hopefully this is a tool that they could use that would then make it much easier for them. And then there's monetization options, maybe restricting features, things like that, but we'll come to that later. So what we'll do, I've got a document I've put together with all the requirements for what I'm calling V1. I've got some ideas for future versions, but what we'll do is we'll go back to the PC and we'll go through the requirements for V1, and then this will be the journey that we go on. So awesome, let's go to the PC. So we're at the PC, and this is the Fuddy requirements document. So I'm not going to cover all the details in this. I'm literally not going to read this to you while you can see it on the screen. I've included a link to this exact document, so this exact version that I'm editing here, in the description down below this video. So what is a requirements document? So you probably would have seen this more with the waterfall development process, but you can use this in the agile world, which is what I'm going to be doing here. So really it's for making sure we have everything written down that we want the app to do, and that way we can stay focused on the exact requirements that we need. So to avoid things like feature creep, which is very easy to do if you've got ideas in your head rather than written down and you're developing an app or something. It doesn't have to be an app, it could just be any software really. Then it's very easy to, when you're writing code, to, oh, I could just add this, and I could just add this feature. And one of the ways, one of the problems that it has with the waterfall model is that you'll never finish because you'll keep adding features. And in the agile world, by using this in an agile way, I've broken this down into milestones. So each milestone is a version number, and each version has a subset of the features that are required for each one. So I can release a fully working holding page as version 0. For version 1, I can release the minimum set of features that will get a subset of users working. And that means that I can have very achievable goals and keep focused. I'll also be able to see when I've completed a version. I'll literally be able to go through the checklist of everything that should go in that version, and if I've checked all the items, A, I'd know how to test it, and B, it means that I would have completed it and I can move on to the next version. So we'll cover the structure here. It should stay relatively static. I can probably flesh out some of this, as some of the requirements are only maybe like a single sentence or two. So in the proper like business world, this document could be absolutely massive and like tens of pages long, but this is only a few pages, so I'll quickly scan through the structure of it. This is based off a Product Hunt template, which I've also linked in the description, so you can see what that original template looked like and then how I've used it myself. And you can feel free to make copies of this and use it how you like. So let's go over the structure. So the first bit is a quick intro and a goal. So the overall goal of the whole project, so that every time I come to this document, I can remember exactly what I'm wanting to achieve. Who's it for, which I've covered in when I was speaking to the camera before. Content creators, agencies and companies, and we know why I want to build it. Partly because I want to solve a problem for myself, which is uploading videos to multiple places and making it easier for myself. And it is a technological challenge that no one else has solved before, which means it's also an interesting problem to solve, a learning experience, and also there's the potential for monetization opportunities as well, because everyone who releases an app would love to make some money from it. Then there is a glossary. This is really for people that are coming to this document for the first time that may not have done anything related to YouTube or uploading videos to different services. So really this is a glossary for them. A quick overview of the networks I'm hoping to cover overall. We'll start with one or two to begin with. The types of users there'll be. So there'll be people that are just visiting the page. There'll be registered users and admins. What is required from registration, and then a list of features. So these are features that aren't in a particular order, but the idea is that the full product will have all of these features here. There could be additional ones that come up in the future, but I don't want to feature creep within a specific version. So you can see there's templating here. So when you create a video for, say, a series such as this, I know that most of the description is going to stay the same, the tags are going to be the same, it's all going to appear in the same category, and the title is going to have a particular structure. So rather than me writing that out every time, I'll be able to just type in the fields that I need, and the template will then fill in the rest. Uploading videos to the library, so that will be what the part of the main app will be, is like you upload your videos to Fuddy, and from there they then get distributed. Analytics, so this is another one which needs to be fleshed out a bit, but it still remains static because there will be analytics functionality where a minimum of that will be shown is where the videos are distributed and getting all of the comments from the various services into one place. So you can get all the Twitch comments for a particular video, and that same video that's also on YouTube, you can grab all the comments from there and have them in one place to get an overall picture of how your video is doing. And then the actual distribution, which is kind of a necessity really, either choosing a template or filling in details manually, and then publishing and choosing your thumbnails and choosing where it's going to get distributed to. Then for this, so far I've nailed down 2 milestones. This will be one of the bits that evolves as we potentially expand the feature set. I'll be able to, when I'm getting close to the end of each version, then define what's going to be in the next one. So I've defined the first 2, the first one being the holding page. And this is relatively simple. There's a lot within this sentence here. It seems simple. You'll get users can visit the website, they can register their interest and be kept up to date with newsletters and things. But in order to get to that point, we need to have a web service. That web service needs to be built. It needs to be deployed somewhere. Need to handle users' email addresses. We need to handle some sort of newsletter service. We need to have branding. We need to have a logo. There's no logo yet. I've got a name and a domain name, that's it. So we need a logo, we need branding and everything, and that's all contained within this V0. Then V1 means that we can just start iterating on top of that. So the first actual version, like functional version, will have you'll be able to sign in with your YouTube account. You'll be able to upload videos, you can distribute them, and this is without templates. So this is just by filling in all the details, including a custom thumbnail and publish date. So that means that we'll be able to set a publish date in the future. We'll instead of showing analytics, we'll just link to comments for now. So that will be if it's in this case a YouTube video, we'll link to the YouTube video and scroll down the page to the comments. A link to monetization. Unfortunately, at the moment there is a constraint which I've listed actually at the bottom here, that YouTube has no ability to enable monetization from their API, and the API is how we'll be uploading videos. So unfortunately at the moment, unless you're a very close YouTube partner, you can't enable monetization. If I'm distributing videos to my channel and I could enable monetization, I'd have to go to YouTube, edit the video and check a box for it to enable advertising on my videos, which is annoying at the moment, so we'll have to just link to it for now. And then also updating the video. So if I've distributed it somewhere and then I want to change the title or add a link into the description, that will also work. So it will keep the videos that are distributed to YouTube in sync with what is in Fuddy. Then an idea of go-to-market. So if the idea is to have multiple distributions, so as part of this, our goals here is to make sure that we can distribute to multiple places and make it easier for managing your content. That's not completely achievable with the first version, so there may be a version 2, version 3 before we get to this go-to-market bit, but I'll still be able to post updates to social media, so things such as YouTube videos, invite some people I know that are content creators to start using it to see if it actually works for them and get some early feedback, and then later on we'll go for full kind of press release launches. Along the way, I've also kept a list of constraints, such as terms and conditions of each network differ. So for instance, with YouTube, you can get insights from comments,
But you can't enrich the data with things such as, is this the sentiment of this comment positive or negative? Can we extract product names that are mentioned within a comment, for instance? And the terms and conditions don't currently allow that. So there are some other issues here. I've also got a whole bunch of technical notes for when we get to the point of setting up databases and things. So I've got a couple of models, and this is the bit that we'll flesh out along the way. So this is the requirements document. So you can, feel free to have a look yourself, make copies, even comment on this video if there's ideas you have for it. And if you're interested, please do subscribe. The next stage we're going to go through is branding. So before we get to creating a holding page, which, or as I said earlier, involves us creating a web service, building it, deploying it somewhere, making it available, we need to have a logo and some branding. So I've got some, because I'm not a designer myself, and I know that many people who write code don't necessarily have design skills. I know I certainly don't. There's tips and tricks that I've got for finding places that can do logos for you without paying thousands of pounds for designers and templates for websites. So if you're interested in that, please do subscribe, and then after that we'll get on to writing some code. So yeah, do subscribe, don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.